to First Coast Connect, and this segment dear to my heart for a number of reasons. Having been a fan and champion supporter for many years of the MS Society, we have two wonderful guests with us. But before I introduce them, a note that a lot of people don't realize, and that is whether you are living with MS and it is new to you, or perhaps you know somebody living with MS, summer temperatures create difficulties that many don't realize. The heat can trigger intensity symptoms, turning basic everyday activities like a walk in the park into a walk into a nightmare. Here to unpack that, along with some other amazing, exciting things happening to support the world of MS, are two incredible folks. Casey Murphy, host of The Other Side of MS. Casey, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And we're also going to learn about what the other side of MS looks like in your podcast, a terrific program. And Teresa Eichner, founder of Jax Bourbon Social. Like,
Fun times.
yeah, like I sometimes think you just created that just to be the most coolest person in the room. No offense, Casey, you're cool, but
We tell stories, she gets to drink.
Aw.
so both of you are board members. Thank you for your service to the North Florida chapter of the MS Society and their amazing president, Heidi Katz. Teresa, I'd like to start with you. What led to your involvement in MS advocacy work?
So I got diagnosed in 2016. I woke up on a Saturday and could not see.
Oh my.
And after some time in the hospital, 4 days, I got my diagnosis. So
Wow.
a day of, I say a day of MRIs, which was a day of MRIs taped to the machine, and spinal tap the next day. So there's my confirmation, 4 days.
Wow. And how do you adjust to that?
I mean, over time, it's gotten a lot easier. And like I was telling Casey while we were sitting in the lobby, um, I looked at it a little differently than a lot of people that I've met since I got diagnosed, which is, to me, it wasn't a death sentence for me. It was
Yeah.
something, hey, here's a prescription you're going to have to take for the rest of your life. There wasn't major surgery. Didn't have cancer. I didn't have anything that I was, like, hey, you've got months to live kind of thing. And so to me, it was more of an opportunity for me to say, okay, I have this. It's something that I know I can live with. I knew another person who serves on the board with Casey and I, Margie, who's had MS for a number of years before. And so I knew that there was life still left to live. So it just led me into, I'm super competitive too. And so she invited me to my very first walk, introduced me to this society, and it kind of, that was, I took off from there.
Take off it did, and we'll get back to that. Casey Murphy, welcome to the studio. Tell us what led you to the world of MS, being a board member and launching a podcast.
Well, I've been involved since 1995. Started out
Mhm.
in Colorado and just started doing the bike MS rides. This year will be my 41st ride when I come in October.
Mm.
We started the podcast because I felt that there was an opportunity to tell the other side of MS behind the microphone, to elevate the voices of those that are affected by MS, like Teresa, but to tell those raw, unfiltered stories, not the ones that you're going to see in the brochures or the ones that you see on TV, to where they make it seem like, okay, well, life is okay. It's the stories that people honestly don't always want to hear.
Mhm.
It's the difficult stories that people are going to be face to face with. What is this disease and what am I facing? Because it's one of the only diseases where the individual, one, has to justify that they have it. And then when they do justify that they have it, half the people aren't going to believe them because they're going to tell them, well, you look fine.
Pause right there. When you say people have to justify, what does that mean?
It means
Why?
because they look, and I'm using quotes here, they look normal.
Mm.
And because every symptom for or each individual with MS looks so different. And so there's no, I mean, there are some commonalities, but there's a lot of differences in it. And you can have someone that is in a wheelchair, someone that's in a cane, or you could have someone, I did a bike ride in Colorado last week and the guy did 100 miles on the bike ride. You would never know that he had MS.
Teresa, as someone living with MS, what has that journey been like for you?
Honestly, it's been enlightening for me, honestly, because until I got diagnosed, I didn't know any. I only knew of one person who
Mhm.
had MS. And it, like Casey said, it's really different from person to person. Her symptoms are different than mine. Um, and sometimes I am like, is this MS or is it something else? So I'll call my neurologist or I'll send an email. Hey, here's what's happening. Is this related to MS or do I need to go see my physician? But some of the difficulty comes with people's lack of understanding of what MS really is
Mhm.
and how it impacts people differently. And I know that we're going to talk about heat today. It's probably one of my favorite subjects to talk about because there's not a good understanding of it.
So when you hear that somebody has MS, I think this is the resounding idea that, you know, just because somebody doesn't look a certain way or fit a pre-described, oh, you have this or you have that, or hey, you don't have any hair, you must be going through chemo. There's much, oftentimes like diabetes, it's not something that you can specifically see in somebody. Now, this hidden danger of the heat, since it's your favorite subject. See, I love that. The fact that you have this disease and yet you've turned it into a positive, and blessings to you for that. So, let's talk about the heat. What is it that the majority of listeners who may not know anything about MS, but yet may know people with MS, that they need to know about heat and this disease?
So the first thing I'll say is, this is Florida, so who likes the heat, right?
Yeah.
And nobody.
Mhm.
Everybody will say, I have an intolerance to heat. So if I go to somewhere or if I get invited to an outdoor event, say, we have a group of friends that are going to the beach for the day, and I say, I'm not going. The first question is like, well, why isn't she going? What's wrong with us? She just doesn't want to hang out with us, and I'm like, no, my intolerance to heat is different than yours. Mine is a my body doesn't regulate its own temperature. So I can go from what might be really cold
Mhm.
to dangerously cold to me, shivering, chills, all of those things. And just the opposite, right? People get hot, sweaty, they drink a water, they can cool down, the wind blows, they feel better. All of those things happen for somebody without MS. With MS, that heat just keeps going and my internal body temperature can get to a place where I need to be inside, indoors, in air conditioning. And so the different, like if I say, hey, I'm not going, or I have an intolerance to heat, how difficult is it? What's the temperature inside the building? I pay attention to like where I'm going and is it indoors, outdoors? What's the weather going to be like? All those things where other people don't because they have a way of mechanism of getting cooled down.
Yeah, there's a phenomenon called Uthoff's phenomenon. It's very common for many people living with MS. And what's so ironic is the two biggest fundraisers for the MS Society. I miss Muckfest, having done that forever, but Bike and Walk MS, and both of them are outdoors, oftentimes during summer activities. So, Casey, you are not only a rider, and I want to be clear, you do not have MS, correct?
Correct. I do not.
But you have dedicated your life in total to this this cause and this effort. So let's first talk about um, bike MS. People are outside riding. What is that experience like? Having ridden both as somebody with MS, I'm sorry, without MS, but also riding with people who have MS. What is the preparation they have to do, and you see them going through?
Well, for those that are riding with MS, they have to take a lot of different precautions. The heat is a big thing that they take care of. In Colorado, we did the ride out in Colorado last weekend. They started the ride at 6 a.m.
Okay.
And a lot of people think, well, that's for folks like myself because we don't want to be in the heat. But it's also for those individuals that are riding with MS. They'll have cooling vests that are going to help them. At a lot of the rest stops, they have cooling towels so they can put it on to help regulate their body heat. And they're also paying attention. They have medics at each of the rest stops.
Mhm.
They have SAG support. They have different types of support that can sit there specifically for those individuals with MS because they don't know when those symptoms are going to start to hit and how hard they're going to hit. And it can be anything. It can be blurred vision. It can be imbalance. When you're on a bike, balance is going to be key.
Mhm.
And the second part of that, where you asked, how is it for someone like us that do not have MS and how do we prepare or how, we ride along that? You want to sit there and say it's an inspiration because you're riding with someone that is going through this, but you don't want to praise them for doing something that they should, that they want to normally do.
Yeah.
But it still is. Like I'll take another individual, ironically from Colorado, but I was in Kentucky. And I run out of gas. And here he comes along. He has MS. We're at the last rest stop. He's giving me the tools, the gummies and everything else to be able to get through to the ride. He's helping me finish.
Right.
And so you sit there and it's like, well, how can I not finish when I've got someone with MS helping me the support to get to the end? I'm going to do it for them.
I call it the C to the saw. It's
Absolutely.
right. It's October 4th and 5th, 2-day cycling event. I know that's a ways off, but people are beginning, they're already training. Route options range from 36 to 100 miles. Real quickly, because I want to make sure we got time to get to Jax Bourbon Social, which is right around the corner. Casey, name of your podcast.
It's The Other Side of MS. You can find it on pretty much any platform, Spotify, or you can also go to our website, which is www.bike-ms.com. You just need to put that dash in between the bike and the MS.
Casey Murphy, thank you for the amazing work you do on behalf of so many and for lending your voice to that podcast, which is a great storytelling, even if you don't have a connection to MS. All right. Jax Bourbon Social. What is it? We got just a couple minutes here. What is it? When is it? And what can we expect?
So Jax Bourbon Social is an annual bourbon and whiskey tasting. It's going to take place July the 19th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Ramallah American Club on Parental Home Road. And you can expect the $100 ticket, over 30 different distilleries. We do provide food. We'll have a golf simulator this year. We have a custom cowboy hat maker who's coming and donating a portion of her proceeds. We just like to have a lot of fun. What we try to do every year is make the connection for. We're not just a whiskey event. We're a whiskey, bourbon, and whiskey charity, and so we're our registered nonprofit. We do carry that designation. And so it's really important for us to make the connection for those who come and want to enjoy bourbon, but we make the connection to what we're doing it for, because all of the proceeds from the event go to the National MS Society.
And it's important to note all of these proceeds for both Bike MS, the Bourbon Social, all of it go to fund research to create a world free of MS. And it's
absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
And that is so unique and special. The website is jaxbourbonsocial.com. That's JAX bourbonsocial.com. If you don't know how to spell bourbon, shame on you. Even if you don't drink, it should be in everybody's vocabulary. Casey Murphy and Teresa Eichner, thank you both so much for joining me this
Thanks,
morning.
Al.
Oh, thank you.
The time goes by far too fast, but the time you're putting in is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for the time.
You're